from my perspective, I first heard Matt speak. This was probably 4 years ago, I want to say, and I could be off a little bit on exactly when this came through, but Josh did a recording, just an audio interview with Matt. And it was in the summer. It was literally in Carpenter's old office because I was sitting in his office listening in on this call. And it was something that we referenced heavily in our state fair training that year. And ever since then, Matt has had like this giant place in my mind of just a badass CSP and high performer. All you have to do is take one look at any photo of the guy and you'll see he is jacked and ripped. So that same discipline that he applies to his health, his fitness, also is applied to his business, which is why he's over $2 million in sales. He's a perennial champion. He's an absolute beast. I reached out to Matt a couple months ago, just out of the blue. I don't even think I've ever had the pleasure of shaking his hand. And I just said, man, we went through and said, who does the team want to hear from? And the names that were coming up were Mike Dowwood and Brandon Brown and people like that. And we've got them on the schedule. But guys, literally, Matt was within the top 3 or 4 out of a list of 50 names that were brought up. And those names included John Kane and everyone under the sun. And so I was excited to see that not only was he someone that I was fired up to learn from, but really the entire team was excited to get the goods from. Matt has a real specialty when it comes to package deals, and I definitely asked if he has any thoughts on that. We'd love to hear it. But I am much more interested in whatever it is you're doing that you're excited about and you feel comfortable sharing. We're all about it. So, Matt, thank you for your time, man. I don't want to take another minute, so let me turn it over to Mr. Matt Graves.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate the opportunity. And not sure exactly who's on the show team there or what reps are involved, but I'm sure I know a lot of you guys. And
well, Matt, just to set the stage, so in your mind's eye, you can kind of get this. We've got Kelly Martins, we got Matt Foss, we have Roger Rodriguez, we have Steven Decker, we've got Chelsea Rodriguez, we got Brett Lancaster, we got Rob Steiner, we got myself, we got a bunch of newer guys.
Perfect.
Sitting in my den, and the other half are conferencing in.
Okay, cool. Perfect. So some of you may have heard some of the things I've talked about because I've given a message in a couple different settings about package deals, but hopefully you guys get some new nuggets or more nuggets from this. I just want to kind of set the stage and say that the reason why I've actually gotten pretty good at package deals is because I started doing the federal program a couple years ago now. And one thing that was like a new transition was you would just work with a lot less people. So instead of like a crazy busy fair, like for me, my one big fair every year is the San Diego Fair, which is coming up in June, where I'm talking to 15 to 25 customers a day that I have an opportunity to close. In the federal setting on base, I can talk to as little as 3 to 4 people that are potentially going to buy something a day. And so what it taught me to do was to change my mindset on what's possible to sell on an order for one customer. And it really made me challenged to where instead of like having that scarcity mindset of like, oh my gosh, it's so slow, there's no way I can have a 10K day. I changed my thinking and I just said, if I know I can get 2 to 3 orders a day, how can I turn 2 to 3 orders into a 10K day? So it really just challenged me to get good at package deals, but it started off with my mindset. So there's 3 things I'm going to cover. And then if you guys have questions after, just let me know. But I'm going to talk about the mindset first, which packages to focus on, and then how to like really observe and ask the right questions once you get the credit card to churn any order into a package deal or into a bigger package deal. So just to start with the mindset, you guys should definitely understand this, that you will sell more of what you consistently present to your customers. And by that, I want you guys to think about what's like the first 5 minutes of conversation look like with your customer at the booth. Like what's coming out of your mouth and what type of promotions are you presenting in those first 5 to 10 minutes to really catch that customer's attention or to really create curiosity for what they're about to explore and look at with you at the booth. And so for me, I know that I was like the culprit of buy 2, get 1 free, 40% off, like, just really like just starting off my 5 minutes of like interest, just shooting myself in the foot, instead of like talking about the Cutco kitchen, talking about our best savings, our package deals. And so here's the difference is, if you're one of those people that are, offering buy two, get one free, buy three, get one free, or just the first thing that you say out of your mouth is like, we have up to 40% off here. What do you think the customer is expecting to see from there on out? So in those first few minutes, whatever you're talking about, whatever you're preaching about, just realize you're setting those standards and expectations for that customer moving forward. So obviously, if you start pitching sets, Cutco kitchens, $1,000 deals, they're just gonna be like, what's the buy two, get one free? Just show me that. That's what I'm interested in. And then you're like, oh shoot, well, here's a couple knives. Okay, so if I buy those two, can I get that one free? You're like, yeah, sure, I guess. And so that's what I've learned is like, back then, I just can't believe how many times I shot myself in the foot, especially to like my past Cutco customers, and just did like ridiculous deals when I knew I didn't have to. And also just didn't really think bigger. And I really just kind of like limited my own belief of what a customer could buy from me at a show. So again, in the first 5 to 10 minutes, what are you saying to the customer to get them thinking about package deals? So for me, I always bring up the Cutco kitchen. That's like the first thing I mention is, hey, Mrs. Jones, the biggest concept for all of our customers and the end goal is what we call the Cutco kitchen. So it's pretty much once you have your dream set of knives, flatware, and cookware, and all the accessories that you use on a daily basis. So I always bring that up in the very beginning of my pitch at the show. Whether it's a new customer, whether it's a past customer, I explain to them that that's what we present. We don't sell knives. We sell kitchens. So Mrs. Jones, we're not a knife company. We're a Cutco kitchen company, right? Someone that's really good about that is like Kareem, in the way he explains the concept of the Cutco kitchen. And so I've been working with them for a year and a half with the federal program as well. And he really like instilled that into me, is like, if you want to sell more Cutco kitchens, you promote that we are a company that sells Cutco kitchens. We don't just sell knives. And what that does is it throws the flatware and the cookware on their radar right away. I mean, how many times have you guys sold to a customer that's had their Cutco for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and they come to your booth and they see the cookware, they're like, oh, is this new? When did you guys start doing this? Like, how sad is that? And it's because we're just so poor at letting our customers know and marketing to our customers that we sell more than just knives. So again, it starts with us. So the other things I say is, Mrs. Jones, the best deals we have here at the show are our package deals. I say that early on because I want that customer to say, what type of package deals do you have? Well, let me show you, Mrs. Jones. Thank you for asking. I also say stuff like, we have secret specials if you do a package deal here at the show today. So that, creates curiosity. It's like, Matt, what's that secret special you're talking about? What does a package deal consist of? So you say these types of things to generate curiosity, but have the customer want to look at it, and they'll ask you about it. And then my favorite thing to do, which a lot of you probably experience this at shows, is those people walking by that look at the scissors, they look at the kitchen tools, they look at that cheese knife, they pick up that can opener, and the first thing they just say is, hey, how much does this cost? And a lot of times I hear representatives freeze in that moment because they want to keep the customer there and build value and show them more stuff. But they kind of just say the price, right? Oh, it costs $110. Oh, the can opener's $56. But then they kind of freeze and don't really know what to do from there. And the customer says, thank you. And they walk away. So a lot of you are probably thinking right now, oh shit, that happens to me a lot. So for me, the follow-up question before they respond is I say this: Oh, great question. Those shears are 112 here at the show, but would you like to see what package that comes in? And the reason why I follow up with the question is because as a customer, if I just heard that it was $112, but then they asked me, do you want to see what package that comes in? I mean, why not? Like, oh, yeah, what package does that come in? Show me. And then boom, you lock that customer into the booth. You get to show them whatever package that you want to make up. So for me, I do like the 5-piece companion set, and I'll just include whatever piece they picked up and asked about, and I'll include that in a 5-piece companion set. And that's why I can turn 1, 2, or 3 pieces into a 5-piece order. It's like my bread and butter, right? I turn a $100 order into like a $450 order, just like that. Or if someone takes the kitchen tools and says, how much did the kitchen tools cost? And they say, or I say, oh, it's $273, but do you want to see what package that it comes with? And then boom, I show them the accessory package, which is like a $1,200 order. So there's a lot of good things that come from that follow-up question of just saying, do you want to see what package that comes in? So my question for you guys is, as part of your mindset, what can you offer the customer that is going to average $1,000 plus package? So just think about anything you promote out of your mouth that is a potential $1,000 package. And that's what the mindset difference should be. So instead of thinking about pieces, even the 5-piece companion set, just small things like that, train your mind to think about what can you offer or say to the customer that is a potential $1,000 package deal. And then how many of those packages can you get the customer interested in? And I'll talk about what packages that I focus on, that I talk to the customer, because if you can make it as simple as possible, right, the better. So less is more. So by focusing on bigger packages, what you're doing is you're just training your mindset to think bigger, but also you're raising your standard to what your average order should be. And I'm sure we can all agree that having a better average order is probably one of the biggest areas of opportunity in our business, because you might be consistent in closing customers, but imagine if your average was double that or triple that. You can do the same amount of work every year, but just get double or triple the results. And one thing that you're also doing with doing bigger package deals is you're training your customers to buy bigger packages every time they see you. I want you to think about when you first meet a new customer and they buy an ultimate set from you. That's a $2,500 order, maybe a $3,000 order for them. So the next time they see you, they should be expecting that what they look at is going to be between $2,000 and $3,000. So what that would tell me is that a package deal would make sense and they'd be comfortable with it based off their original experience with you. So buying like a cookware set with flatware is going to be around the same price, and it should be something that they're used to because of their first experience. And so what you're doing is you're training customers to look at bigger packages, and you're getting them comfortable with spending good amount of money on package deals every time they visit you at the booth or in home. But vice versa, if someone that you first met bought a buy two, get one free from you, imagine what they're going to expect every time they come to the show. They're going to expect that buy two, get one free deal every single time. And then it's going to be really hard to train them into buying something bigger because of that original experience. So now let's go on to what the main packages I focus on are. And a lot of you guys probably have the same thing, but when you keep your focus simple, right, it's really easy to get good and consistent at it. So again, the number one thing I am always promoting is the concept of the Cutco kitchen. Couple key things I say is it's the end goal for all of our clients, whether you start with it or whether you work up to it slowly. Everyone eventually works up to it, but you'll save the most amount of money doing it in one shot or by taking advantage of our package deals. So if you listen to some of those key words, right? It's about saving. It's about advantages of package deals. And again, it's just the type of words and lingo that you're using with your customer. So outside of the Cutco kitchen, my main focuses are upgrades, flatware, cookware, kids program, gift sets, accessory sets, and then outdoor packages. So I think altogether that's like 7 potential $1,000+ orders right there. And that's actually the same order I go through in my mind when I'm working with customers. So I actually like walk myself through those 7 packages with the customer before I let them walk away. And keep in mind, you know, some customers, they're only interested in a few of them. Some might only be interested in one of them. But here's the challenge is how consistent are you and how much integrity do you have with yourself to consistently go through every package with every customer? And I promise you, if you change your habit and you tell yourself and commit to showing every package to every customer, promise you your average order is going to go up tremendously the rest of the year. Because a lot of times we're in the moment where we're trying to close just that initial order, and it's so challenging sometimes, right? You're handling all these objections, you're feeling uncomfortable, maybe the customer is feeling uncomfortable, and so right when you get that credit card, you just want to wrap up that order and like send the customer off before they change their mind, right? That's like what you're thinking. But I want you to really challenge that comfort zone and have that integrity that no, my standard is to walk through all 7 of these packages with the customer. They might not be interested in all 7 of them, but I'm going to walk through all 7 packages just in case. And the way I look at it is it's a disservice to the customer to not show them everything. And I can't tell you how many times I've had like really uncomfortable closing situations where I knew they wanted the knives, but whether it was the budget, whether it was like the husband being mad or the wife being mad or whatever it is, just to get that first initial order, right? That first yes. And I was so uncomfortable and like just so happy they said yes to that, to where I almost didn't follow my standard and show them flatware, cookware, kids gift programs, gift sets, outdoor packages, and all that stuff. And I'll just give you a quick example, but on one of my military bases, I was trying to close I think it was a family set, so a signature set. And no joke, I handled all the objections by the book. I mean, no one else could have closed them, outside of what I did. I just felt like I just did everything I needed to do and more. And they still had to walk away. Just one of those couples that needed to walk away, needed to discuss it, and they walked away. And like an hour later, they come back, they get the signature set, and I was just in that moment so happy that they came back because I was pretty sour that they left. And obviously disappointed because I thought I just did such a good demo. I thought I handled all the objections by the book and made it make sense and all that. So when they came back, it was just like that like, oh, thank God feeling. But it was such a slow pace that I had to remind myself that I might not get any more customers after this, and that every order counts, and that for me to make my time worth it, I need to like make my average order bigger, and I need to like really hold myself true to the standard that I set in place that, if I really want to, I can turn a small order into a really big order if I allow myself the energy and the effort to upserve. So I remember in that moment, I was working with Brandon Brown, and I just like turned around and I was like, watch this. And so I start talking about flatware, and they shut it down like really quick. Like, no. I mean, we barely said yes to the set. You know, like we don't want to get anything else, and we definitely don't need any flatware. And I'm like, oh, no, no worries. Just keep it on your radar. And I said, what's your cookware situation like? And immediately, husband and wife look at each other and they say, it's terrible. We've had it since we were married, and that's probably the next thing we're going to look at. So right there, I dive into my cookware spiel, and I just said a simple question. I said, just because of what you're getting, it actually qualifies you guys for one of our best package deals. And if you are in the market for cookware, you like the Cutco cookware, and you think it would be a good investment in the future, just because you're here right now, if I were to do like a super turbocharged deal to where it made sense to get them both in a package today and you can still budget it, would you be open to getting it? And they looked at each other and they said, what do you got? So I did my package deal. They ended up getting it. And I turned a $1,800 order into like a $4,200 order to a couple that took an hour to come back and say yes, and gave me every objection in the book of why they couldn't get it today. And so that was like one of the best reminders to me that no matter how uncomfortable the situation, no matter, you know, how tough it was to get that first yes, you always stick to your standard and you upserve and you offer as many packages as you can, because you might find that customer that is just triggered by a couple of them or interested in a couple of them that you didn't expect. So anyways, it was kind of a tangent, but anyway, so I'm going to talk real quickly about each of those packages and what I say about them to kind of like pique interest. Obviously for the block upgrades, I think we're all pretty good at doing that now. But for me, the main concept I explain is that buying a few knives at a time with Cutco is the most expensive way to buy Cutco. So Mrs. Jones, if you do the upgrade package, you'll be one and done and not have to worry about buying knives ever again. You just have to use and enjoy your set for the rest of your life. Plus, you save a ton of money and you'll be happier using the full set sooner rather than later. And of course, Mrs. Jones, the best part is you are one step closer to the Cutco kitchen. Or I'll say like, oh, now that you have your upgrade, you're 1/3 of the way closer or 1/3 of the way done to the Cutco kitchen. So it's always in reference back to the Cutco kitchen. And then one of my biggest selling points is I focus on selling the bigger block and selling the newer steak knives, because that transitions into upgrades a lot easier. Because if a customer wants the new steak knives, which two blocks hold the newer steak knives? So you guys get the picture there, right? So if you can focus on getting good at selling those two things, upgrades are pretty easy. Now with flatware, this is probably my favorite thing to show to customers. And I think it shows with how much flatware I sell. But for me, I just say a couple things like it's forever flatware, right? I hit the selling points that it's the only American-made flatware on the market. And then with the forever guarantee, it just makes sense. It's an heirloom investment, something that can be passed down to future generations. And then I always say stuff like it's our best package with the biggest savings on service for 12 people. So anytime you say that to a customer, I mean, they're gonna be interested in at least hearing the price. You can't say it's our best package with the biggest savings without anyone saying, well, show it to me. That'd be like someone saying, if you're car shopping and you went on the lot and you're like, here, I'm here to look at a Civic. But they're like, well, we have this other car. It's our number one seller and it's our best savings that we have this weekend. Who's gonna not look at that? Or who's gonna be like, no, it's okay, I'll just stick with the Civic? Like, you're gonna wanna see what that car has to offer. And so that's exactly why I say stuff like that on the flatware, because, you know, obviously not everyone's gonna be interested in the flatware, but you'll never know who's interested unless you show it to everybody. So cookware. For cookware, you know, I have a couple questions I asked too. You know, what's your cookware situation like? In the next couple of years, do you see yourself upgrading your cookware at home? I'll say a few things like that. And then a couple key points I say is it's our best but biggest investment with Cutco. So Mrs. Jones, cookware is hands down our best, but biggest investment with Cutco. So right away you're saying, hey, it's the best thing to invest in, but it's also going to be the most expensive, right? So you're just pre-framing them early on. And I say stuff like, the knives are great, Mrs. Jones, but the cookware is what changes the quality of your cooking and the quality of the food that you're eating at home. So that's how I really like get them locked in at looking at the cookware. And then I'll just say, yeah, Miss Jones, it's what makes the most sense. People spend anywhere from $30,000 to $100,000+ on remodeling their kitchen, and they replace all the appliances, they replace all the countertops, they change the cabinet color, and it all looks great. But none of that actually changes the quality of your cooking at home, Mrs. Jones. It's the tools. It's the pots and pans. So if you're going to spend that much on your remodel, don't you think that the highest quality pots and pans make more sense? What's an extra $5,000, right? Plus, you'll probably move to a few new houses in your lifetime, and you'll probably do a few more kitchen remodels. The only thing that will stay the same forever is your Cutco pans. All right, the next one I talk about is the kids program. So I always try to dig in with family and kids and figure out what the kids like, or how old they are, whatever. And I always just ask them a few questions like, hey, have you ever done Cutco as a gift for your kids before? Have you ever thought about it? So again, pique interest, get them curious. And then obviously, like, if they love their Cutco, I'll just say things like, don't you think they would love and appreciate Cutco the way you do? Or Mrs. Jones, can you imagine one day you giving them Cutco, and then 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, when they're still using it, they'll always remember how they got started with Cutco? Like, don't you want to be responsible for that experience? And so they're like, oh my, yeah, that sounds great. Like, this would be awesome. Yeah. And so that's when I just say, well, hey, good thing we have a kids gift set program. Can I show you what that includes? All right, perfect. Let me show you real quick. And then boom, I'll show them, 5 showstopper specials, 4 homemakers, 4 flatware chests, whatever applies to what we're talking about. All you do is you just package whatever set she kind of likes for all 3, 4, 5 of the kids. One of my biggest service calls to a past customer was a $7,500 order. And it was, I want to say, 7,500 CPO. So it was more like 9K line one. But it was 3 signature sets and 3 flatware chests, I believe. All because of this whole concept I'm talking about right now. So for the kids program, I say, if you want to buy, or if you want to one day buy Cutco for your kids, Mrs. Jones, we do have a special program that can take care of all your kids in one package. It would be the biggest savings and make the most sense in the long run. Plus, how cool would it be to say that you bought this 5 to 10 years ago, knowing that one day you would give it to them on a special occasion? And you just wink at them. And then for gift sets, guys, I don't really do much on gift sets. That's more like business owners, or like, hey, Miss Jones, what do you normally buy for Christmas, and who do you normally buy them for? Oh, 3 or 4 people you consistently buy for? Okay, why don't we do something different this year and get them a 2-piece Cutco gift set, and then you just package that. So for gift sets, it's more of figuring out who they do gifts for, what they would like to do as gifts, and then you just package it together for the best savings. The accessory set, if you use Mike Dowid's or Vast Action's show specials, I mean, they did a really good job putting together the full accessory set for $1,200, and then there's a smaller one for $600 or $700. If you guys aren't using that to your advantage, you're missing out on huge upsells. And instead of adding a buy 2 get 1 free gadget to a set, I don't know who does that. I think Josh Mueller always talks about his upserving talk, and like one of the main things he says is like, oh, because of the set you're getting, we do like a buy two get one free for gadgets. No, because of the set you're getting, do you want to see another package that is like a secret package that you're qualified for now? It actually includes those 3 gadgets that you want anyways. And then boom, you add that $1,200 accessory package. So just start packaging things and then offering it as a complete solution, one and done solutions. Miss Jones, how about we upgrade that junk in your kitchen drawers and then we replace it once and for all with Cutco? So we'll just out with the old and in with the new. You'll never have to replace that stuff again. You'll actually probably free up way more space in your kitchen now, Mrs. Jones. Less is more, right? And then the outdoor packages, this doesn't work with everybody, but when you get the right customer and they're a hunter, they're a fisher, they camp, they live in outdoor states, anything that just applies to certain people. Gun shows, this is a big one. Fishing shows, boat shows, things like that. Really stress those outdoor knife packages, and then get them sold on the concept of having like the right tool for the right job and being prepared for like any outdoor activity. And so instead of buying 1 or 2 hunting knives at $200 a piece, these are great package deals to take advantage of, to where you get way more bang for your buck. And then you can just use it and love it, give away some as gifts. If you got a couple sons, we can engrave a couple of the hunting knives in the package for them, so you can knock out their birthday and Christmas this year and keep 3 or 4 knives for yourself. There you go. Perfect. Okay, last thing, and then I'll wrap it up, is upserving. And all I did for upserving is I wanted to give you guys some questions that you can use to ask your customers once you already have their credit card, and then you're trying to like add another package to their order, or upserve into a bigger package. Okay, so it's like things I say is this: Mrs. Jones, because of what you're getting, you qualify for some of our package deals. Just for fun, keyword, just for fun, can I show you what package or what that package would include? Or just for fun, can I show you what packages are available? And then one of my favorite questions is, if they're looking at the flatware and they already bought like an ultimate set from you, and you can see they're eyeing the flatware, I just say stuff like, Mrs. Jones, out of curiosity, do you see yourself getting the flatware eventually? If so, do you mind if I tempt you with the turbocharged deal so you can make it a package deal and save more money today? So that works like probably 99% of the time. My other favorite one is, Mrs. Jones, wouldn't you agree that it makes more sense to get the package deal today, knowing that you're going to get this in the future anyways? And then this last one is kind of like the same thing, but worded differently. Mrs. Jones, if you know you're going to get the flatware later, but you can budget the package deal today, doesn't it just make more sense to do it now? So that's what I got for you guys. That's my golden nuggets for package deals. I have 5 more minutes or so if you guys want to ask any questions.
Damn, dude, that was unbelievable. My wife is here. She's always here for the meetings. And she texted me. She goes, out of every speaker you've ever had, I've never heard so much typing in any talk. The keyboard is clicking like mad. Damn. Well, I have 2 questions myself. And the first one I'll hit really quick, and then we'll just see if anyone else has anything we want to go to the group. One of our big focuses this summer is our lowest season as far as kind of key events and overall shift inventory. So this is where we're leaning in heavily on sales and service events. I'm curious if you have done much in the way of sales and service events at this point, and if you just have any thoughts or tips on that. If you haven't done a lot, no worries. We'll just take it back to the package deals because you're killing it on everything.
Actually, that's a great question, Brian, because I've done 5 of them now. And I have an extremely large average compared to my team. And it's because I take this same concept and I use it in my service events, because to me, it's the same exact setting. It's the same scenario. It's the same pitch, and it's all my past customers, which is an even easier transition into like promoting what's next. So I always have the big Cutco kitchen backdrop behind me. And right when I bring them to my booth, that's the first thing I explain to them is like, Mrs. Jones, thank you for coming today. Like, I really appreciate it. This is like kind of a new test program, but we have, exclusive discounts just for our customers. Just so you can take advantage of anything that's next on your wish list, or anything that's next towards your Cutco kitchen. So it's the whole concept of, eventually one day having the best set of knives, cookware and flatware, and, never having to buy kitchen stuff again, and just using and loving your Cutco forever. And so there's a few packages that I go over with my customers, and we'll see what's the best fit for you and see what's next. And then boom, I just go through that whole transition of like all packages that I just talked about. And so obviously you got to figure out what their interest level is on those packages and be really good about disregarding anything they're not interested in. Because, the best part about a service first mentality is you got to listen, and you got to figure out, okay, if cookware is priority, then handle that right away. If flatware's the next priority, handle that right away. If they don't even budge on the cookware, they say, no, thank you, I love my stuff, leave it at that. Don't talk about it again. So there's, I get 30 minutes to work with the customer at a service event. And that's why I'm really short with my words, and I really protect what comes out of my mouth, because I want it to be very effective, and I want it to be presented in a way to where they're only thinking about certain things in a short amount of time. And so just to give you some numbers, my first event I did, I sold $8,000 on 10 orders. The next event I did, I sold $4,000 on 6 orders. The next event I did, I sold $10K on 15 orders. The next one I did $4K on 4 orders. And the one I just did last week, which was my whole sales report in one day last week, because I went to Vegas for a bachelor party. But I sold, I think, $7,000 on 9 orders. So $7,000 on 9 orders. So I'm loving service events, and again, it's just a reflection of the mentality and like the whole package deal mindset I was talking about. But yeah, no one on my team's coming close to those type of numbers, because I think I really set myself apart with what everything I just talked about today. And I really pride myself on like, how can I average $1,000 per order at my service events? And what am I presenting or offering the customer that will make that happen? And so for me, it's a very easy focus, right? So like, obviously an upgrade can easily be $1,000 order. A flatware chest can easily be $1,000 order. So if you just focus on those packages, I mean, it's kind of hard to not sell $1,000 per order. And obviously, you're going to get some customers that, say no to everything, but they'll buy 4 or 5 knives, and that's fine. It happens. But when you consistently focus on bigger packages and you kind of hold yourself to a higher standard, that's when you start getting those bigger orders that you never thought you would get. So I hope that answers your question.
It was just collective sound of just being so impressed and disgusted by those stats. Well, guys, we probably have time for one question. Does anyone have something specific? I know everyone's just processing and digesting all the goods there. I'll give it a beat. Roger Rodriguez, hit me, brother.
Can you hear me?
You may slide over here, or I can repeat the question.
What's up, Matt?
Hey, what's up, man?
Who are you, bro?
I'm good. About to go hit the gym.
Right, get them gains. So I have a question. Whenever you talk about hey, can I make you a super turbo ridiculously charged good deal?
Yeah. And
I want you to just kind of give us an example, because a lot of times you can be you can say that and then they'll be intrigued, but sometimes they don't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
So give us an example with a signature set with steak knives and flatware, for instance. Well, what do you do with pricing, or what do you say with pricing to make it sound like it's really, really good? Are you just
yeah.
saying things to make it sound great. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think the answer to your question is this: price positioning is really big. I used to be that guy that like did turbocharged deals before I even handled an objection, right? And so I think the important part for me is I've learned to like stick on the original price and handle all their objections before doing a discount or a deal at all. For example, let's say we're selling the Ultimate with table knives. I think it's $24.99 on the fast action special, right? And they, I do my demo. I know they want it. I know that they'll use it, and I know that they can budget it. I've answered all those questions. I've handled all those objections, right? And maybe his main concern is I want the wife to, be here and make the decision or whatever. I'm not going to discount that set knowing he can budget it, because it just wouldn't add any value and it wouldn't serve a purpose for me to say, hey, let me knock off $200 after you just told me you can budget it. So for me, I'm just really good at handling objections and sticking on that price and being firm about it. But I might do something different, like, hey, does your wife like to bake? Well, how about this? If you like this set, you think she will like it too, and you can budget it today, let me just do this. Let me go ahead and buy you that serving set, and I can engrave it with your wife's name on it, so you can give it to her as a special gift. And then that way you get the knives you want. She'll end up loving them anyways, and you get a special gift out of it to give to her. And then boom, I'll close that, right? And I'll close it in a way where it adds a lot of value, because now I'm taking care of the wife's needs, and I'm doing something that he probably would appreciate more than just like, oh, let me take $200 off, because he never told me anything about budget. So when I go to add the flatware, right, the original price is $16.67. So if I try to close them on the flatware, I'm not going to just start with, hey, if I gave you a turbocharged ridiculous deal to add the flatware today, would you do it? It's like, no. Hey, let me show you our flatware package, and let me show you why so many people are pulling the trigger on it at the show. Here's the deal, because they can see what the retail price is. Here's the package deal at the show. And then I just start asking those questions of, do you see yourself eventually getting it? Is this something that you could be in the market for right now? Is this something that you want to do today with your complete set? And then obviously I'll be like, yeah, I really like it. It's beautiful. I definitely think my wife would want some in the future, but I'm just going to hold off today and go ahead and stick with the set. I'm like, hey, perfect. No worries, man. You're going to love that set. She's going to love it too. And then like, as I'm writing up the order still, obviously I have the credit card in my hand already. That's when I kind of stop writing, and I'm just like, out of curiosity, just because I'm really trying to break a huge record at my event. And I know that, hey, in the future, if you're probably going to call me and order the flatware anyways, but I just have to ask Brian, if I gave you like a turbocharged, crazy, ridiculous deal to where it made more sense to get it now and you can still budget it, would you be open to at least considering it? And then he'll be like, hit me with it. Like, what is it? And that's how you know those guys are interested, right? And then that's when I'd be like, hey, tell you what, instead of $16.67, because of the set you're getting, you just have to promise me one thing before I do this, that if you ever buy any more Cutco in the future, that you call me, because I'm going to be your guy. Is that fair? Okay, perfect. So here's what I'll do for you. Instead of $16.67, I'll go ahead and do it for $13.99. So we'll take that from $16.67 to $13.99. Now I'll put about $270 in your pocket to take advantage of something that you're probably going to get in the future anyways. And then on the 5-pay, Mr. Jones, or whatever, it's only going to be this much more a month. And that's how I close it.
I am so excited for the content that you brought. I'm gonna have to go back and review the recording this so many times to get all the lines and verbiage. But I think the thing that I love is not just the lines you have, but just the confidence and conviction that you obviously have in your program focus and how it's serving your customers at a higher level. It's getting them better deals. It's allowing you to be more efficient and productive in your business and be able to take those days where a lot of us would shrug off a day where we only really talk to 2 or 3 prospects, kind of take what we get mentality. And you're going in with this very empowered, I'm going to create type of mentality. And that's just such a different focus. So that's awesome, man. Well, hey, I know you got a jet, but my last question to every speaker we have this year, we've asked the same question. And I'm curious, but the thing we've been asking everyone is kind of like, what's the one thing that you're focused on in your own business this year or your own life? Maybe it's something, a specific area like working on your business gift scripts. Maybe it's something about, a focus on goals or something in your personal life. But, is there any kind of one thing that you're really trying to make your mission here in 2018?
I would say definitely it's my average order, because last year my huge focus was like handling the objections, and like Brandon Brown is like the Jedi at that. And so I really like worked with him and kind of like just trained with him in using his lines and using his lingo and like studying his mentality behind it all. And so that was like what I was trying to master last year, which I think I'm pretty good at now, but always could get better at it. But yeah, this year for me, I'm going into this year with the mindset of growing from $500,000 to 650 with working the same amount. And so the only way I'm going to be able to do that is to turn the same amount of orders I'm getting into a bigger average, which is why when I talk about this, you can hear like I'm pretty passionate about it, because to me it's like, if you're committing to an event, you're working 3 days, like let's say 8 to 10 hour days. Like, wouldn't you guys agree that if you already have committed to working 30 hours in the next 3 days, that you would rather have a ridiculously high average in the same amount of time invested versus showing up, not trying to master package deals or upserving, and just showing up with your current skill set and just accepting what comes your way? Like, for anyone to believe that that's okay, just to me seems like such a big missed opportunity and a waste of time. And I think that's the difference between a rep that sells 50K at a state fair and a rep that sells 150. They're investing the same amount of time. They're putting in the same amount of effort. And it's really just a mindset shift of what do you expect and what are your standards? And for me, that's like my whole concept is like, man, I'm not going to do 23 days at a fair and have the numbers that, this person does. Like that just seems to me like such a wasted opportunity. Like, I'm going to go in and I'm going to prepare the best I know how. I'm going to sacrifice what I need to, but I'm going to give it my all and know that at the end of the fair, like I gave it 110% to get the best results. And then if I can feel that way at the end of the fair, then I'm happy. And the only way to do that is like to really be present in the moment in each shift, knowing what your standard is and what your expectations are of yourself, and getting really good, right, at these types of approaches. And so I'm telling all of you guys, like, if you want to grow this year at like a ridiculous rate, take whatever events you have already in your schedule, take whatever events you've already committed to, and just use that mindset shift and go into it this year with, how do I create these huge package deals? How do I upserve at a level I've never thought was possible? And how do I turn 5K day at 10 orders into a 10K day with 10 orders? And just watch what happens.
Damn, dude. Holy cow. Well, Matt, thank you so much for your knowledge, your experience, your openness, and just the maturity that you have shared and how you approach your business. We love reciprocity, and we're all about the win-win. If there's anything that we can share or do, whether it's for you or for your team, please let us know. And we're so excited to connect even closer with you in the future and have you as a part of our TGP extended family. So let's give Matt just a nice round of applause here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I love it, dude. Well, hey, go hit the gym, man.
I will, man. Thank you. Talk to you guys soon.
All right.